So there was a young boy who wanted a dog. And he goes to his dad and says, I really want a dog. And what does dad say? You can have a dog if you what? You take care of it. You're responsible. You're going to feed the dog. You got to take care of it. So the dad goes on a work trip, and when he's gone, the dog gets fleas. And the boy's like, oh my gosh, dad said I got to take care of this dog. It's got fleas. So he goes to grandmother, the wise one in the family. And grandmother says, if you want the dog to get rid of fleas, give it garlic. So he goes, okay. He goes in the kitchen, goes in the fridge, gets the garlic out. He tries to feed it to the dog. And what's the dog do? No. Now he's getting more stressed. He's like, Dad said I got to take care of this dog. He goes back to grandma and goes, I tried to give the dog garlic. It's not working. She goes, oh, grandson, no. You got to wrap the garlic in ham, and then you give the ham to the dog. So the son goes, gets ham, wraps the garlic in ham, gives it to the dog. The fleas go away. Great story. This is the ham. All of this is the ham to get you guys to eat the garlic. Does that make sense, guys? So we are bribing you with the t-shirts, with the smoothies, with this great venue. This is the ham to take the medicine, okay? We want to make this as great of experience as possible so we can take this information and actually learn. Now, I do want to let you guys know that you guys are in a special group in my heart. When I was being raised, I was taught that even though you guys know Dr. Callahan, my little brother, no matter if he's wrong, no matter what the case is, I stand up for him. I fight for him, right? If you're out playing with the boys, it doesn't matter who's right, who's wrong. We'll figure that out later when you get home. But if he's fighting, guess what? You fight, you're fighting too. If you guys show up to a Saturday workshop on a beautiful Saturday and spend 3 hours, you guys are in that category. If I see you out in public and somebody's beating you up, I don't care who's right or wrong. I'm jumping in. You guys are like family. This is a Saturday. You could be watching TV, watching football, but you decided to learn. Now, I do want to talk about real learning. Real learning, and this is important, and I had conversations that you have throughout life change your life. I had a conversation with a mentor that changed my life. Real learning is, and this is in your notes, guys. You guys notice you have this note section that's got all the fill in the blanks. We're going to be filling in the blanks. There's a lot of work to be done today, and this is the first blank we're going to fill in. Real learning is when you have similar circumstances and you take different actions in the future. So if you guys leave here and you have the same Thanksgiving and the same Christmas and you get the same infections and you have the same circumstances and you don't take different actions, you really didn't learn anything. Is everybody track with me? If life looks the same from now on, real learning didn't occur. So the mission today, number one, is that we actually learn something. That the rest of this year, you're going to make different choices because guess what? Thanksgiving's going to be the same. They're going to serve the same pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving. There's going to be this, we had the same candy my kids got this Halloween. It's going to be the same year after year after year. We want to make different choices with similar circumstances. That's goal number one. Goal number two is that this is a mastermind. That's the second blank. A mastermind is when you try on somebody else's worldview for a short period of time and see if you like the results better. Okay, that's what a mastermind is. This is a mastermind. Now, is anybody here from like a small town? Show of hands. So I'm a small town. I'm from, have you guys heard of a town called Veneta, Oklahoma? You guys, that's where the loony bin is, right? That's where everybody, that's where I'm from. Surprise, surprise, that's where I'm from. There was very few people in my small town that knew anything about health. Okay? Very few people. And I was lucky enough early in life to have an uncle who was a chiropractor. And when I was 18 years old, I went to a health mastermind and I heard things and I tried on worldviews that completely blew my mind. Wait a second, you shouldn't eat McDonald's. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't eat McDonald's. Like, I was 18 years old. I knew it wasn't great for me, but I didn't know how bad it was for me. Is everybody tracking with me? The goal of today is try on this worldview for a short amount of time and see if you like the results better, because here's the truth of the matter, and this is the third thing we want to fill in. It says your ideas, I'm going to say our ideas, me included. Most of our ideas about a given subject are not true beliefs, they're rather just assumptions. They're assumptions that we make that we think are true. So I want to talk about let's just blow apart an assumption that I find that's really cool that was blown up in me this year. This is important. Who's heard of the Mediterranean diet? Yes. Okay, right? Olive oil, get to have a little wine, you know what I mean? Like it's like the fun diet. It's high fat, fish. This year they proved the majority of that diet, the benefits are BS. It's wild, right? Why do people that eat the Mediterranean diet, why do they have such better health outcomes? Because they do. People that live in Greece have better health outcomes. It's because 90% of the people that were studied in the Mediterranean diet were Greek Orthodox and fasted around 200 days a year. Never knew that. I never knew that. And I've been teaching the benefits of it, the health benefits, as a health professional. And I had an assumption that it was the food. I did not know that it was actually that they fast so much. That's why they're so healthy. I'm not saying that olive oil is bad and those things are bad, but they didn't elicit the benefits that they were preaching. The benefits came from fasting and not eating food. Amazing, right? That's what we want to do today. We want to say, maybe they're not really beliefs we have about health. These are just assumptions that we have, and let's challenge those and change our worldview. So that's the mission today. What is the current state of our health? Okay? So there's been a 3-year study done. They've studied basically the United States healthcare system, where it was in the year 2018. The data took 3 years to compile. The results just came out 6 months ago. It's not great. The cat's out of the bag with this. Most people don't think like America is the healthiest place in the world. When I was first a chiropractor 11 years ago, when I would ask people, how are we doing as a country? They go, we're great. We got great doctors. We got great nurses. We do. We have amazing doctors. We have amazing nurses. But our outcomes are dismal. They're awful, terrible. They are the worst outcomes in first world countries. So the United States has the most expensive healthcare system in the world. Double the average. $11,000 per person per year. And the United States has the lowest life expectancy and the highest infant mortality in the 52 high-income nations. Those are first world countries. Those are countries with hot running water, heat, and air conditioning in your house. You guys with me? We're not comparing against third world countries, but countries that are wealthy. Have you guys ever heard the song, like, which one doesn't look like the other? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Now, look, we used to be in the grouping. We used to go with the other countries. In the year 1975, we broke away in the 80s. The 80s is when we broke away from the pack. We started getting much more expensive and very bad outcomes. Does anybody here have a 401k or a retirement account? Show of hands, right? This is what's called a bad investment. Bad return on investment. It's not a good investment. Now, I want to be very clear. And I say this all the time, if you patients know this, this workshop's over, I'm walking out here, I get hit by the bus, do not take me to a massage parlor or a yoga studio, don't take me to the juice bar. I would like to be taken to American Hospital. It's the best hospital to go to in the world. But once I'm out of the hospital, I never want to see a hospital again. I don't want to see a doctor. I don't want to see a nurse. I don't want anything to do with this unless it has to do with an extreme medical emergency. Is everybody with me? Okay? So we do not want this. Now, I will tell you, over the last 2 years with what's happened with COVID and the pandemic, I have never felt tighter shoulders and tension in my patients ever in my career. Definitely a lot of fear. Okay? Now, I do want to say something. I am a strong believer in fear is one of our most basic instincts, and it will always be in us. It's what's kept us alive for hundreds of thousands of years. But we want to use it to our benefit, not to our detriment. We want to use fear for a benefit. Now, here's how we can use fear for a benefit. One of the things that we want to pull off today are what are called, and this is living in the culture of fear, this is in your worksheet, it's called a singe moment. A singe moment is when a blatantly obvious truth moves from intellectually true to actually true. It's called a singe moment. The biggest fear that I have for me and my family is that we do not live obvious truths. Is everybody with me? Obvious truth. Should you work out? Absolutely. Every study on the planet says you should work out. Should you take vitamin D? Every study on the planet says you take vitamin D. Should you eat a healthy diet? Should you have healthy relationships? Should you set aside a certain amount of money if you can? You guys see, all these are obvious truths. My biggest fear in life is that those obvious truths never become real truths to me. That I know them intellectually, like, oh, I know that. Oh, I know that. Oh, I know I should work out. Well, guess what? If you're not working out every week, you don't really know it. You don't actually know that obvious truth. Now, this came full circle with me lately. I took a picture and I forgot to put it up in my PowerPoint. I was up with my son, Smith, all night last night. Okay? My wife has been pregnant. His birthday is November 8th, so it's almost been 2 years. It's been a rough season for me. Okay, guys? My wife does not like being pregnant. You know, like some of the women that she does not sleep. She doesn't want to be within a 5-foot radius of me when she's pregnant. She doesn't want any help when she's pregnant. Like, it's a rough time. And then we have a son, my 1-year-old Smith. He sleeps for about 3 hours at a time. For context, my other 2 children they were sleeping 13 hours by now. If he was our first child, we would have 1 child. We would have 1 kid. So there was a plan for him to be last. We've tried everything. It's like his temperament. He's just higher energy. He's just a very aggressive kid. He's just a high energy kid. And I was like, I got to get some health. Like, I'm a doctor, but I need to have a health mentor. And the first thing he asked me, he goes, Cameron, you have low energy. You're stressed out. You're not sleeping. He goes, are you exercising? And I go, well, I do some weeks. And they go, you cannot miss a week of exercising. You cannot. I have not missed a week of exercising twice a week for 19 months now. Now, here's what's happened though. I've always known that. I've been a chiropractor for 12 years. I've been preaching this. But now that singe moment, I've touched the hot stove. You can tell your kids it's hot, right? But when their skin burns and singes, they know that stove's hot. I now know the stove's hot. And I don't think I'll ever miss a week without working out twice a week because I know truly in my heart that that's the right thing to do. Here's what's happened, guys. I get less infections. My energy's higher. I'm sleeping better. Less depression, less anxiety, all those things. No medication has been studied to be better for depression and anxiety than exercise. Zero competes with exercise. I knew it intellectually, but I didn't really know it until I had that singe moment. So that's the fear. I fear those things. Fear those things that are true and that you're not doing. So what do we do though? Like you see the expert on TV, and I've never seen a time in history where an expert on TV does not really back up when I look up like what the facts say. Is everybody tracking with me? Right? So like somebody's saying something on TV, when I go look up and I just use Google and I go, well, like, let's look up what they're talking about, that they were diametrically opposed. It didn't match up. Usually you look to experts to take all the relevant data and summarize it for you so you can have it easily digestible and so you don't have to be an expert yourself. Is everybody with me? Okay? I've never seen a time where you had to actually research it yourself. And what it really boiled down to, and this is where the difference is, who do you trust? Here's what I would say you should trust. There's 2 models, pathogenesis and salutogenesis. These are the 2 messages that we've been receiving over the last 2 to 3 years. Here are the definitions. It's 2 philosophies at looking at human health and how we operate and the best way to be healthy. Pathogenesis stresses a focus on the disease rather than on the person. An elaborate diagnosis based solely on symptoms, diseases were believed to be entities or external forces that became situated in the body. The only thing that's important is the disease. Salutogenesis, and this is in your packet. The current health facts point to a salutogenic model, which is this focuses on the well-being of the person and on the importance of physical observation, examination, and including the understanding of a person's lifestyle, behaviors, and emotional state. That is a salutogenic approach. Let me give you an example. So I have a very good friend named Keith Hurley. He's a doctor down in Florida, and he got me to switch my dog food. Now, I buy the best grain-free kibble that you can get for my dog. Like, I want to get, food's important, nutrition is important. He told me a story that had me shift my dog food. He had a dog, when he was in chiropractic school, he had a German Shepherd, and it got an ear infection. And you got to go to the vet, gave it the drops, gave it the antibiotics. It kept persisting. It lasted 3 weeks. It lasted 6 weeks. It lasted months. At about the 4-month mark, he was going back in for his checkups. They go, we don't know what's going on here, but the ear infection is starting to infiltrate the dog's skull. Now, what's next after the skull? The brain. It's bad. We need to send you to, he was going to chiropractic school in Florida. We're going to send you to the best vet hospital. It's at the University of Florida. And we're going to send you to a specialist because we can't understand why this dog's ear infection won't go away. It's going to be expensive. I don't know if you guys know, a lot of people don't have insurance for their dogs. He's looking at thousands of dollars to take care of his dog. Well, if you go to a chiropractic school, just so you know, you're going to be surrounded by hippies, granola, hacky sack, health. It's a very health-driven community. So one of his hippie friends goes, before you go to the University of Florida, go to my holistic veterinarian. Just have him, what do you have to lose? The appointment's $150, go see him. And that doctor, he went to him and he asked, the first time he asked Keith this question, he goes, what are you feeding your dog? It's the first time anybody had a salutogenic solution. Everything else was, he's got ear infections. He needs what? Antibiotics, drops. Those, we need to do stronger antibiotics, stronger drops. He was the first doctor that asked, what is your dog eating? Kibble. I'm a broke chiropractic student. We do kibbles and bits, the cheapest food I can find at Target. He goes, here's the deal. You need to order a food called Makeover. It's free-dried raw food. Dogs are not supposed to eat cooked food. Dogs come from what animal? Wolves. What do wolves eat cooked food? They eat raw food after they take the animal down. So he fed it. 2 weeks later, the ear infection is gone. It's gone in 2 weeks from a raw food diet. And he goes, it's going to be an extra $100 a month, but you're about to spend $10,000. What do you have to lose? I fed that to my dog. My dog's 10 years old. Energy's up. Weight loss is down. He was getting lipomas. Those are those little fat tumors. That's a sign they've been fed too much kibble. They have all shrunk. All the lipomas have shrunk because now I'm actually treating my dog what I teach, which is a salutogenic solution. And that's what we're going to talk about today. What is a salutogenic solution for your immune system? So we've got to talk about underlying theories. We know the germ theory of disease is true. If you come in contact with a flu virus, there's a chance you're going to get the flu, but it is incomplete. The germ theory is incomplete. Now, can anybody tell me who discovered the germ theory? Guys, come on. Louis Pasteur. Do you guys remember Louis Pasteur? Okay, you guys, pasteurization, that's how we drink cow's milk, or now that's a whole different subject. I don't want to go down there. So he had a contemporary named Beauchamp, and they lived at the same time. And they were both scientists, and they both practiced around the same time. And Beauchamp goes, your theory is incomplete. Germ theory, and I agree with you, there are germs, there's microorganisms, but you're not taking into account the host, the person. He asked, How come two people can be sitting on a workbench next to each other and they're both exposed to the flu and one gets the flu and the other person doesn't get the flu? Right? Do you guys remember in the first coronavirus outbreaks, they would track somebody, this was nuts, they rode a bus for 8 hours and only 4 people on the bus got COVID. And one of them was sitting the farthest from them, but the other 16 people didn't get COVID. That's kind of weird, right? If the germ theory is completely true, and I love this quote, this is the founder of chiropractic, if the germ theory of disease were completely correct, there'd be nobody living to believe in it. We'd all have died of germs hundreds of years ago. We're not just subject to germs. There's another part, the complete theory is germ theory and terrain theory, okay? So a good analogy is, let's say you have a fish in dirty, filthy water, okay? Who had a fish tank when they were a kid? Anybody kill off a couple of them? Yeah. That was fish, they came to my house to die and perish a terrible death. Now, when the fish tank got dirty, did you go to the pet store and go, what medication should I get for my fish? Did you do fish drops? Did you have to get a little syringe and inject the fish with a syringe? What were you supposed to do? Clean the fish tank. So that is terrain theory. We want to have the animal in a clean fish tank. Now, this is where the rubber meets the road, guys. This is where we're going to start getting really specific. There are 3 healthcare choices you can make, and really 3 only. And this is so simple. And I really find that a lot of patients, they don't succeed in health for 2 reasons. Number 1 is they make it too complicated. It's not complicated, it's very simple. They want the next new berry out of the Amazon that, you guys know what I'm talking about? Like the next new novel thing. I'm not saying those things are bad, they may have benefit, but it makes things more complicated. They make it too complicated, so health is very simple. It's extremely simple. And the number 2 reason patients do not succeed with health is they're not patient enough. Healing takes time. Have you been eating good for 3 years, not 3 days? How long does the average American diet last? 5 days, 4 hours, and 27 minutes. That's the average diet. Lasts 5 days, 4 hours, and 27 minutes. That is not long enough to be healthy and get the benefits of a healthy diet. So they make it too complicated and they're not patient enough. So with these 3 things, these are our 3 healthcare choices. Number 1, you can change your environment. This is a writer-downer. Change your environment. How do you change your environment? Number 1 is the food you eat, the toxins you allow in your environment. Mostly that's done through food and the people you surround yourself with. You guys hear me? Yes. If you hang out with 5 depressed people, you're going to be the 6th depressed person. You hang out with 5 smokers, you're going to be the 6th smoker. Okay, that is your environment. The second choice you have is you can change your body's ability to adapt to your environment. This is done through exercise, your mindset and your spiritual outlook, your mindset practices, meditation, sleep, how healthy is your brain, and through chiropractic in your spine. All the research of the benefit of chiropractic and have a healthy posture and a healthy spine, they're not really linked to its ability to get rid of pain. All the best research shows it helps you adapt to your environment through heart rate variability. Okay, that's the power of spinal care. So those are the 2 choices. Or choice 3 is you can change your physiology with medications. Plain and simple, those are the 3 health choices. Okay? Choice number 3 is an amazing short-term solution. It is a dismal long-term solution. Is everybody with me? If your blood pressure is through the roof, if my blood pressure is through the roof, give me the blood pressure medication. Okay? Give it to me. I do not want to die from a stroke. But we better find out quickly what? The cause. Why is my blood pressure high? All right? So I would say, guys, you are here most likely in the room today. You're not in love with this choice. The cat's out of the bag for you. For me, I got to tell you, I came about this through suffering. I learned this lesson. The singe moment was watching my grandparents be super sick. And the more medications they took, the sicker they got. And they had the best doctors money could buy. And I'm not saying the doctors are bad people or they don't have a place in life, but never got them well. It just managed their symptoms as they went to an early grave. And we do not want to do that. That's not what our clinic's about, and that's not what today's about. Okay, so let's talk about strengthening the host. So we're going to talk about some background on the immune system. Then we're going to start getting into what are the steps that we specifically, the tactics we need to make. So how the immune system works is important, and we're going to get into that. But I want to go over the signs of a depleted immune system first. How do you know if your immune system isn't running on all cylinders? What are the telltale signs? And these are really clear in the literature. And I want you to think about not only yourself, but also your family. Now, for me, we have 3 kids. I have 1 kid that is the redheaded stepchild that steps out here. He's my son named Sonny. You can ask my mom. We're going to go through these things. He has about all of these. And we're having to do things from a health standpoint to help him with this. But we had to recognize the signs. If I didn't know what I know, I wouldn't let you guys know right now, my son Sonny would probably be on medications. Okay, he would. If he wasn't my son, if he was kind of in more of like just an average American family, he would already be dosed with a medication at 4 years old. And I know that for a fact. Because here's what we see, and this is what we see with a suppressed immune system. Number 1 is stomach issues. If you have consistent diarrhea, constipation, or stomach issues, that is a sign of a compromised immune system. Okay? We're going to get deeper into the digestive system. It's very important when it comes to the immune system, but this is the number 1 sign of a compromised immune system is digestive issues. Not having just healthy bowel movements every day that are normal, okay? If you want to ask me what a normal bowel movement is, that's a conversation we can have later after the workshop. We got the smoothies fresh in us. Were the smoothies good, guys? Yes. Good. Real quick, I forgot to do something. All you guys in the front row, you have $10 underneath your seats. I forgot to do that because this life belongs to learners, and learners sit in the front row. So congratulations, guys. $10. It's max cash. You can use it for anything you want in the clinic. All right? Yeah. All right. Number two sign of immune system dysfunction is fatigue. Specifically, if you've gotten a full night's rest and you're still tired. That's the definition of fatigue. Definition of fatigue is you sleep, but you're still tired. Is everybody with me? If you do not sleep, that's not called fatigue. What is that called? You're not sleep deprivation. You're not sleeping. Okay? But if you get rest and you're still tired, you have fatigue, and that is a sign of a compromised immune system. Number 3 is recurring cold, coughs, and throat irritation. You get frequent colds, coughs, throat irritation. The definition of frequent is more than twice every 6 months. Okay? That is what we would call frequent. Also, frequent sinus, ear, urinary, and fungal infections. Okay? Frequent sinus infections, ear infections, urinary infections, and fungal infections. How are these 2 different? Here's how these 2 are different. This is really important. Colds, coughs, and throat irritation are caused by outside invaders, virus and bacteria that do not live in your body. Sinus, ear, urinary tract, and fungal infections are caused by stuff that is always in your body. Is everybody tracking with me? Okay? These are caused by normal things that are always in contact with you, but because your immune system gets so depleted, you can't even fight off the regular things that live in your body. The big one is sinus infections. If you get chronic sinus infections, that means that you have a depleted immune system because that's not caused from an outside bacteria or virus. That's from ones that already live in your body. Everybody with me? Okay. Skin problems, rashes, eczema, any type of abnormal skin issue, tinea versicolor. Have you ever heard of tinea versicolor? It's where you get light-colored spots from a fungal infection. I've had it since I was a little kid. That was my sign that when my immune system's out or I don't get sleep or I'm stressed, it comes up. When I'm on my A game, it goes away. That is my sign that we have compromised immune issues, okay? So any type of skin problem. And then number 6 is that you are stressed often. If you are often stressed, it is literally impossible to have a healthy immune system. Okay, those are the 6 signs of a weakened immune system. Any questions on this before we move on? Can anybody relate with any of these? Yes. Okay.
Are skin tags considered a...
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Nope. Okay. So what is your first line of defense? There's 3 parts of your immune system. We're going to cover all 3 parts. Line of defense number 1 is the physical barriers. Physical barriers is your first line of defense. Your skin, your mucous membranes in your nose and your head, your mucous membranes in your mouth and your throat, your digestive tract. The biggest area of your first line of defense is the lining of your small intestines, okay? I want you guys to track with me. This is important. Once you realize this, this will change the way you look at your digestive system and your immune system. When you guys ate the smoothie or you're drinking your coffee or you put something in your body, it is not in your body until it enters what? What was that? So even when it's in your small intestines, it's not in your body. When does it enter your body? When it's in your... Not even with your large intestines, because after it goes to your large intestines, where does it go? Your colon. Where does it go after your colon? Your rectum. And now that fecal matter is never in your body. If fecal matter was in your body, what would happen to you? You'd be dead. So when is something actually in your body? When it's in your bloodstream. Is everybody with me? That is key. The biggest line of defense is the lining of your small intestines, is because that's when things enter what? Your bloodstream. Huge. This is huge. The number 1 job of the immune system, I'm going to save you guys the trouble. I read this book in preparation for this seminar. It's called An Elegant Defense. It won the Pulitzer Prize on the immune system. Do not read this book. Do not do it. I'll summarize it in 3 points. The immune system is very complex. We can suppress it with medications. We cannot boost it with medications. The only way to boost your immune system is through natural methods. And the number 1 job of the immune system is to keep your blood clean. Guys, congratulations. Pulitzer Prize, you read it. Do not read this book. It's awful, okay? So the number 1 job of the immune system is to keep things that should not be in your bloodstream out of your bloodstream. That's why. Has anybody had food poisoning? Awful experience. What is your body doing? It's saying there's something really bad in this tube in your body. It's not in your blood yet, but it's in your body, and we got to get it out before it gets in the bloodstream. What a great response, because if it gets in your bloodstream, you're in trouble. So first line of defense is your physical barriers. That's why when your kid gets a deep cut, what happened? What was broken? Physical barrier. That's why we got to make sure it's clean. We got to make sure we take care of that wound because your first line of defense was compromised. Number 2 is your innate immune system. This is what you're born with. This is also the root cause of autoimmune issues. Autoimmune issues are caused by the innate immune system, the immune system that you're born with. It is very general. The innate immune system in the bloodstream goes, this is me, this is not me. And what do I do to not me? Attack it. Is everybody with me? That's what the immune system does, the innate. It goes, that's what babies have when they're born. It goes, this thing in my bloodstream is not Cameron. I'm going to attack it. Now, when does it go bad with autoimmune? It cannot tell what's Cameron and what's not Cameron. So it attacks tissue. Predominantly thyroid tissue is the first to go. And where this occurs, and we'll get into this in a moment, but the number 1 reason that you have autoimmune issues is with the small intestines. Damage to the first line of defense, the barrier, which is the small intestine lining. So innate immune system tells us to attack anything that's not us. And then we have the adaptive immune system. The adaptive immune system, which has said, whoa, I got this cold last year, We have a memory about the cold last year, and it attacks cells that we now know hurt us last year. Does everybody remember the story of the American Indians? What happened to them when they came in contact with smallpox, right? Terrible travesty. 95% of them in some cases died. What were they lacking? Adaptive immune system. This is what they were lacking. Adaptive. Now, what's so crazy about this, what is this most compromised now in children? It's over-hygienic mothers that put antibacterial soap. You guys know I don't know, what's it called? It's not the soap, hand sanitizer. Everything gets sanitized. Everything. It's like everything's clean. They never come in contact with dirt. Like your kids should have mud milkshakes, mud sandwiches, this is, just so you guys know, what we're giving my son to help his immune system. It's dirt mixed in water that he takes, and it's helped him tremendously, but it's healthy bacteria to help with this adaptive immune system. So we want to come in contact with things so our immune system can learn, okay? All right, so one thing we've got to talk about, this is important, because I feel like a lot of people don't know this right off the bat. Like, what is a virus? Just so you guys know, all a virus is either DNA or RNA. That's all it is. If I sneeze on this countertop, okay, and there's viruses on this countertop, will those viruses replicate on this countertop? Will they spread? They will not, just so you guys know. A virus cannot spread or grow in the environment. What must it have to grow and replicate?
Vector.
A host, a vector. Now, more specifically, I would say it needs a compromised host. That would be more apt. A compromised host would be the more accurate way of saying it, okay? So a virus must have a host to replicate. So a very good example of this is this summer, were there flu viruses around us? Did they go off to Cancun for the summer? Is that what they did? Right? We all know this intellectually, but we got to know it really. The flu was around us, but why did the majority of us not get the flu? We were not compromised through our vitamin D levels, our sugar intake, our alcohol, our stress levels, lack of sunlight, the cold weather. We were not a compromised host. But the winter comes along, now we have a compromised host, and the flu virus can replicate and spread because of compromised hosts. This is very important. That's how viruses work. Also important to note that if we talk about cancer, because if we're going to talk about the immune system, we have to talk cancer. And just so you guys know, I know you patients that have been around for a long time, this workshop we're doing right now, this used to be all cancer. This was a complete cancer workshop because it was an immune workshop, but your immune system kills cancer. Everybody in this room, every one of you, all of us, including me, everybody, you are all making around 10,000 cancer cells today. Today. What's today's date? November 6th, 5th? So today you made 10,000 cancer cells. You have this amazing thing in your body called your innate immune system that seeks out those cancer cells, go, oh, this is a bad cell, and they destroy it. So if you have ever had cancer or you've had a diagnosis of cancer, we know that you have had an unsuccessful immune response. Now, cancer is on the rise. It's raised another 4% in the last 3 years. The most common cancers are skin, colorectal, breast cancer, prostate cancer. I said skin, colorectal, prostate, breast, and ovarian cancer. Those are the most common cancers, okay? Now, they are on the rise. Again, don't read this book. You hear me? Don't do it unless you want to go to sleep. The best way that you can not get cancer, the best way you can not get cancer is have a healthy metabolism. The number one way you cannot get cancer is have a healthy metabolism. That is also a filler in. The number one thing you can do to prevent cancer is having a healthy metabolism. When we study cultures, tribal cultures, that still exist the way that our genes were developed. So there's cultures that live in Africa, Costa Rica, Amazon. Their cancer rates are this. They have 0% cancer. Zero. They live into their 80s. They do not get cancer. Does anybody want to know our cancer rate? What would you guys guess? If you live in America, what is your chance of getting cancer? So we got a very pessimistic group. I like it. It's high. It's almost 50%. Almost 50%. It's 48.5% is your chance of having a cancer in your lifetime. How come indigenous tribes have a 0% chance and we have almost a 50% chance? It's our metabolism. It's what we put our metabolism through, and we're going to get in how to solve that with the tactics. All right? So we do not want to be a part of this. Has anybody had cancer in their family? It is not. Did you ever see the hands? Raise your hand if you've had it in your family. Was it fun to watch your family go through what it takes? Not fun. It is not a route you want to go down. So the best medicine for cancer is prevention. The best prevention is having a healthy metabolism. So we've got to be on top of that. So we're going to talk about the nutrition for a healthy immune system and a healthy metabolism. Before we get in a break and give away some stuff and let's get our energy up, there's something I want you to write down. I don't know if it's in your notes. I may be cutting ahead, but this is so important to remember. Before we get into this information, everything that makes you gain weight is bad for your metabolism. Everybody with me? Everything that makes you gain weight and everything that makes you lose weight is good for your metabolism. Everything that makes you gain weight is bad for your immune system. Everything that makes you lose weight is good for your immune system. That is a blanket truth. That is a singe moment. If it's going to make you gain weight, it's bad for your immune system. If it's going to make you lose weight naturally, it's very good for your immune system. This is super important because we're going to touch on this later. Okay, guys? Because a big part, you do not gain, so the average American gains 2 pounds a year. Do you think you gain that evenly throughout the year? You gain 5 pounds from now to January 5th. Is everybody's clear? You will actually lose 3 pounds the rest of the year, but you'll gain 2 pounds every year because you're going to gain 5 pounds over the next 2 months. So if you can lose weight over these next 2 months, I want you to think about that, how far that puts you ahead, how far it puts your immune system ahead, how far it puts your weight loss ahead, because right now, guys, we're in the Thunderdome of weight gain. We're in the Thunderdome of the immune system. So everything that makes you gain weight is terrible for your immune system. Where do we learn this? What happened if you got COVID? What were the bad things? You better not have heart disease. You better not have diabetes. You better not be obese. You better not have low vitamin D. You better not have a sedentary lifestyle, or what's going to happen? You're going to go to the hospital, and if we get you in the hospital, we don't know what the hell's going on with this thing, and we may have to put you on a ventilator. And we don't know what's going to happen. So do not be overweight. Don't have type 2 diabetes. Do not have cardiovascular disease, and you better be moving your body, because those are the salutogenic solution to something we don't really have a handle on. Is everybody with me? Okay? 75 grams of sugar lowers your immune system by 60% for 5 hours. Okay? It lowers killer T cell activity and number by 60% for 5 hours. 75 grams of sugar. So for context, a soda has around 40 grams of sugar. A cupcake has about, I like cupcakes, delicious. 47 grams of sugar in your average cupcake. A Gatorade, 35 grams of sugar. So it's not a ton. When I was raised, we had like a neighborhood full of boys, and one of the kids, the Prices, had a refrigerator in their garage that was full of one thing. What was in the garage fridge? Sodas. They had the grape soda, they had the orange soda, and we didn't get one. How many did we get? We had 2, 3. Terrible. Awful for your immune system, okay? So we want to avoid sugar, especially this time of year. We're getting ready to have a pie holiday. We just had a candy holiday, right? We do the switch in our household. The kids are allowed to keep 5 pieces of candy. You guys, I'm such a square, my daughter is telling me how bad a father I am. You get 5 pieces of candy. You get to eat over 5 days. We take the rest of your candy. They watch us throw it us in the garbage. We go to Target and get them a $10 toy. It's worth $10 for my kids not to get the flu and not to get cold. And I learned this because what happened the first year when we didn't follow this rule? Everybody got sick. Everybody got some type of cold, runny nose. So we don't play that game anymore. $10 at Target, problem solved. I find this to be harder with children. A singe moment for me, guys, and I'll talk a little bit more about this towards the end. My nickname in college in chiropractic school was the Candy Man. So I did good I graduated third in my class, and I would go get A's or do great, and how I would reward myself, I would go to the gas station and get candy. That's what I would do. I'm not proud of it, but that's what I would do. And then a singe moment for me is, that's not for adults. Adults don't do that. Adults don't drink soda. Adults don't drink sweet tea. Adults don't eat candy. Adults don't eat those things. That's what kids do. I'm not a child anymore. I'm a man, and I'm going to have a family. I want to be married. I don't make decisions like a child. That was it. Now, I'm not throwing shade at anybody here. For me, though, this was a big thing for me, and I can't tell you how much healthier I am because I don't do this anymore, okay? So when I see a grown man getting a donut at Quick Trip, I see him like in a little 5-year-old body. That's what's happening. And I want to be very clear, guys. If it's a choice between donuts and broccoli in your house, you're going to choose donuts 10 times out of 10. You are. You've got to get this out of the house. You have to. Do not let it come in the house. You're going to choose it over the healthy options. I want to just real quick, just to bring this point home, Panda Express could not get their customers to eat healthier. The owners of Panda Express is a really cool guy. He wants people to be healthier, but he's like, we put healthy options on the menu. Nobody's buying them. Like we're losing money because we've got to have all this in stock and nobody's buying it. And they hired this high-level consultant that was brilliant. And here's what he did. When you go into most Panda Expresses, they'll have 2 lines you go into. One is a devil line and one is the angel line. And if you go through the angel line, you only get to choose from the healthier options. You go in the devil line, it's the full flavor, all this, all the stuff. But why? And it's what worked, because you have to make up your mind first. You can't see the 2 options next to each other. When you see the healthy thing next to the beef with broccoli with all the, you're never going to choose the healthier option. So make the choice before it goes into your house. You can't have the stuff in the house. You're never going to make the right choice. So do not put it in your kitchen. Processed foods. These are foods with a lot of ingredients. A very good rule of thumb with processed foods is if the food did not exist before the year 1900, you should not eat it. Okay? And we'll get deeper into this when we cover the core plan. The best foods on the planet have how many ingredients? 1 ingredient. Okay? Now, we eat some healthy pastas in my household. We do some of those things for the kids, but we try to keep it, it should be more than 3 to 5 ingredients. Once you get above that, that's a highly processed food, okay? Why is this so bad, processed food? When you eat processed food, your body has an immune response to the food. So if your body's sending immune system to your digestive system for the processed food, it can't be out in your bloodstream and fighting other things. So we do not want our food to have an immune response. But if you do have processed food, because remember, what is your immune system having to sift through with processed food? Should this go in the bloodstream or should this not go in the bloodstream? Are you guys with me? So it's got to use energy to figure that out. We want to make it really simple. We don't want to be a soft target. We want to make it really simple for our immune system. Refined carbohydrates. Now, really quickly, we can cover this real quickly. If we could really lump this together with one of the other 5, which one is refined carbs really the same as? Sugar. It's processed food, but it's basically refined carbohydrates are sugar. Now, we're going to get deeper into this here in a second. They do not satiate you. Does everybody know what satiates means? It makes you full. Why? They're called the domino food. All right? Has anybody ever had one Oreo? Somebody has done it. They're on a mountaintop in the Himalayan mountains. They're a monk or something. Or who's had one potato chip? Or who's had one breadstick at Olive Garden? No, I haven't. So they do not satiate you. They make you fuller or they make you hungrier. They make you hungrier. And they're loaded. They basically, you have an enzyme in your saliva called amylase. In 4 seconds, immediately breaks down a refined carbohydrate and bread to sugar. So it's breaking down into sugar in your mouth. Fried foods, this is probably the number one reason we're sick. They've done the studies when fried foods are really why are fried foods are bad? It's the vegetable oils, the soybean oil. It's these oils that did not exist in the year 1900. Once we introduced these into the food source, our health went straight down. Now, why we use them is they make food cheap and they make food last longer. Is everybody with me? So it's great for the restaurant industry. It's also great if there's a zombie apocalypse, like a Twinkie or fried. It's gonna make it stable. But they are really, really bad for our body. They're really bad for your digestive system, your gut, and they cause inflammation. What system controls the inflammatory system? Makes you inflamed, your joints swell, makes you ache, makes you hurt. What system, what did people of COVID die from? Inflammation. What controls the inflammation system? Your immune system. Your immune system regulates your inflammation system, right? So when you get stung by a bee, what happens? Swells, inflames. That's an immune response to the toxins in the bee sting. Fried foods affect your immune system and make you more inflamed. Artificial sweeteners were also not around in 1900. Every study that comes out about these month after month is just getting worse and worse and worse. The big ones are the ones that are in like diet soda, aspartame, saccharin, awful for you. Can anybody tell me the number one thing they're bad for? Gut health. Good job. Get you a brand new t-shirt. You go, Mickey. Good answer. Love it. Front row learners. So artificial sweeteners are awful for your gut. Okay? Now, I want to summarize all these things are terrible for your gut. High levels of sugar, processed food, refined carbohydrates, fried foods, artificial sweeteners. En masse. Now, I want to be clear about bread. Guys, we do not eat the bread that Jesus ate. Okay, I just want to be very clear. We're not breaking that type of bread. We're eating a hybridized version to yield greater gluten, to yield greater protein amounts. Now, if you have to do bread, we want to do stone ground, ancient grains, whole sprouted. We have those in our family. Try to eat them in moderation. But when you go get a piece of bread from Panera Bread, that is not bread. Okay, that's not what we evolved to eat. Now, what all of these things have in common is they're terrible for your gut. They're terrible for the biology of your gut. And here's why. We evolved with the bacteria in our gut over hundreds of thousands of years. Okay? Is everybody with me? So we've evolved for that. They help us break down nutrients so we can absorb them. They help our immune system. Now, what we've done over the last really 100 to 50 years is we have now introduced these bacteria to things they have no clue what to do with. Is everybody tracking with me? 50,000 years ago, your caveman ancestors, or wherever they were from, they did not get any sugar in their diet, hardly at all. Is everybody with me? So the bacteria in their gut, which is the same bacteria in your gut, did not evolve to have high levels of carbohydrates, high levels of sugar, artificial sweeteners, fried foods. They were not around 50,000 years ago. So those bacteria are not evolved to break those things down and interact with those. So they all wreak havoc on your gut and your digestive system. So why is that so important? 70% of your immune system is in your gut. That is a filler outer there. 70%. And multiple recent research studies are showing the gut is most likely the all cause of autoimmune disease. Okay, so let's go back to this. You guys got to bear with me. Sugar, processed food, refined carbohydrates, fried food, and artificial sweeteners. I want you to be honest. What percentage of the American population do you think comes in contact with these on a regular basis? 90%. Very large percentage. Is it easy? I want to say that, is it really easy to avoid these things? It's extremely difficult to avoid these things. So difficult. Go to a grocery store. I mean, you highlight what is not, these things don't, it's going to be a very small region of the grocery store. Very few restaurants are not going to fit this bill. So I want to go back to this. If 70% of the immune system is in the gut, those things wreck your gut. The gut is the cause of autoimmune conditions. Does anybody know how long it takes to get into a rheumatologist in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Over a year.
It's over a year. You want to see a rheumatologist. Autoimmune conditions are so through the roof, it is over a year to see one. I have so many patients that don't like their rheumatologist because the drugs are typically immunosuppressants and they don't like how they feel. They want to find another one. They will not switch because they know they will not find another one for over a year. It's usually a year and a half. This is an epidemic, and this is the cause of the epidemic, okay? I want to be very clear. This is the cause of the rise in autoimmune issues in our culture. And it's not done a couple days out of the year. We're being exposed to this 365 days out of the year. That is what I'm worried about. I'm not worried about what you do 5 days out of the year. What are you doing every day out of the year? That's what's going to cause health issues. So let's switch it. What are the big immune boosting foods? What can we substitute or change? Number one is quality, healthy fats. So that is olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, healthy fish. You get a lot of your fats from the proteins you eat, eggs, good dairy, cottage cheese, yogurts, butter, tallow. We've got an amazing vendor out here that has got the amazing cooking tallow that we cook with now. Those are the healthy fats that we want to use. Pick some up, use it, experiment with it, cook with it. You have something in your bloodstream called free fatty acid receptors. Free fatty acid receptors. You must have a healthy fat bind to that receptor for them to modulate your inflammation response in your body. Okay, is everybody with me? So that's why everybody heard of fish oil? You need to take a fish oil supplement. That's why you take fish oil, is so it binds to those free fatty acid receptors, which is about the same as taking a natural anti-inflammatory. I'm just going to keep bringing up COVID. Why COVID was so bad is because there was who remember cytokine storm? Remember that? Like people are dying from a cytokine storm. That's an inflammation response. It's because their base level inflammation was so high that then when they got COVID, it made it even higher, and that's what made their lungs fill up with fluid. Because their base level inflammation was already elevated. So how do you keep your base level inflammation regular or normal? It's through eating quality fat and healthy fat, okay? So we want to avoid at all costs. If you go home, we're throwing away all margarine. You are not allowed to have margarine in your house. Do you guys hear me? Okay, I can't believe it's not, can't believe it's not butter, the spray, vegetable oil, canola oil. None of that is allowed in the household. Now here's what's really hard. Almost every packaged food you have, if it's in a package, guess what most likely it has in it? A bad oil. That's cookies, crackers, Fig Newtons, all the good stuff. All the great stuff. It tastes so good. That lasts forever. Twinkies. Twinkies are delicious, guys. I think they're great. I mean, I get it. We're at a health seminar. You're not supposed, that's blasphemy. But they are awful for you, and it needs to be thrown out of your house. Packaged foods, anything with damaged fats. So we want to increase quality fats. Number 2 is antioxidant-rich foods. I would say the best are berries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries. And as we go through these 5 foods, guys, we want to make sure we're getting them in daily, like a daily dose. So we need to eat berries every day. We need to eat quality fats every day. Really quick, antioxidants. What do antioxidants do? They help you with damaged cells. So cells that have been damaged in your body, they help clear damaged cells. That's why we have antioxidant-rich foods. They make you age slower, and they aid your immune system in releasing damaged cells. They donate electrons, if you want to get really systematic. They donate energy to you. They donate electrons and help you clear old damaged cells. Citrus fruit. Now, pause here. You got a lot of footnotes. to put in this. Who's heard vitamin C is great for you? Like, okay? Vitamin C is good for you, but it is almost identical to sugar in its molecular composition. And it has the same pathway to go in the cell as sugar. It's called the GLT pathway. Okay, is everybody with me? So sugar and vitamin C use the same pathway to get into a cell. If your cell has a choice to let in sugar or vitamin C, which one is it going to choose? It's going to choose sugar. So this is why you do not get vitamin C from orange juice. Remember like the Sunny D commercials? We got the green stuff, the purple stuff. Oh, let's drink Sunny D. It's got vitamin C. You do not get a vitamin C boost from Sunny D because of the amount of sugar in it. It competes with vitamin C. So I'm actually less interested in how much vitamin C you take and how much sugar you eat. Okay? So what foods have vitamin C but don't have a bunch of sugar? Broccoli, kale, cauliflower, kiwis are the highest level of vitamin C. They do have a little bit of sugar in them. I don't eat oranges, guys. I don't eat a lot of kiwi. I do squeeze lemon and lime in my water. That's a better way to get vitamin C. I eat broccoli. I eat kale. I eat cauliflower. Those are much better sources of vitamin C. If I see another sugar-filled vitamin C drink, I'm going to vomit. It's a waste of money. It does nothing for your health. Nothing. If you are eating a lot of sugar and you're taking a vitamin C supplement, it does nothing. Does nothing for you. The vitamin C will never outcompete the sugar for the cell receptor site. Okay, this is clinically proven. Okay, everybody with? I'm going to get off my vitamin C horse now. All right. Who loves garlic? So garlic has a compound in it called alanine, that's what makes garlic smell funky. And that's why we want it. Now, the literature on garlic is super strong. If you take garlic on a regular basis, the chances of you getting a cold and flu are around 63% less. High percentage. Here's what is also great about the study. If you are taking garlic, if you do happen to get a cold, it will be less severe and it will be around for a less duration of time. Guys, come on. Less chance of getting it. If you do get it, it's not going to be as severe and it's not going to stick around as long. So if I ever smell in the office, this is why. Okay? I just want to cover, this is where I'm going to just cover this real quickly. When I start feeling symptoms, when I get a sore throat or I start building mucus or I start feeling sick, the first thing I do is cut out all dairy and all sugar. Dairy promotes mucus production. Dairy is good for you, but if you're sick, do not eat dairy. It increases your mucus production. We want to cut out sugar, so I'm going to fast from sugar and dairy. And the two supplements I really push immediately are a silver spray in my mouth 3 times a day, 6 sprays. What does silver do to bacteria and viruses? Kills them. That's why, remember the silver spoon with babies? Like they knew it did something. So that's just going to kill remember on the barrier. It's just going to bring down the viral and bacterial load in my mouth and in my throat. And the number one thing is this garlic parsley blend. Okay? This stuff is super strong. You will smell like an Italian restaurant. You will. It will be coming out of you will not have fleas. Remember the first story? You're not going to have fleas. When I take this, I have to sleep on the couch. Okay? I don't care that I have to sleep on the couch because it's so good if you do get sick. Okay, guys? Huge tactic. If you're not feeling well, push a very strong garlic. Why they had the parsley really doesn't have any health benefits. It keeps you from having heartburn because this is such a concentrated garlic oil. It's very concentrated. Okay? So alanine is what we want to, that's what we want to utilize in the garlic. You should cook with garlic. You can do aged garlic. You don't have to do this garlic supplement. Do a aged garlic supplement from Sprouts or Whole Foods, whatever the case is. But we want to do garlic this time of year, especially if you're having any symptoms. All right. Lastly, this is the most important aspect for our immune boosting foods is we want to break fast with protein. Okay. All right, so we have a lot to talk about here. Now, to have protein for breaking a fast with protein, the first thing you have to do is you have to have a fast. Okay? That's the first step. So what a fast is mean you're not eating anything that's going to trigger your liver to release enzymes. Okay? That's what a true fast is. So a true fast, what is the only thing you can put in your body for a true fast? That is it. I used to teach you could do coffee. I used to teach that you could do full, like MCT oil. If you guys want to do coffee, that's okay. You're going to get a percentage of benefit, but a true fast is water. Okay, that's a true fast. Now, the minimum, if you have a high metabolism, if you guys, you know who you are. We all hate you. You have a high metabolism. If you're a guy, we can see your Adam's apple. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a high metabolism, it takes you a full 12 hours to process your last meal. Okay? That's a minimum, 12 hours. Everybody in the room, no matter how slow your metabolism, takes 16 hours. 16 hours to process your last meal. The minimum fast I recommend is 16 hours. Okay? Everybody should be doing a 16-hour fast, except if you know you have a thyroid condition. Does anybody here know, just you know you have one? You are going to do the 3-2 method. You can fast for 3 days, then you need to not fast for 2 days. Then fast for 3 days and not fast for 2 days. 16 hours, in my opinion, is also the most that females should fast. If you're a female, I do not recommend fasting more than 16 hours personally, unless you're doing some other protocol and you have a physician watching over your protocol, okay? Females, you girls hear me? Okay. So, what does a 16-hour fast look like? If we can do math. If you eat dinner at 7, when is the first time of the day you can stop drinking water and start eating food? 11. So you have an 8-hour feeding window. So I want you guys to think about that. You would break fast with your protein at 11 in the morning. If you're being really good, that's when you should have your coffee. That's when you should eat. Now, I will tell you the best research on coffee, and I've been hacking it with this damn kid that's not sleeping, is do not drink your coffee immediately upon waking. Who's heard of Huberman Labs? Has anybody heard? He's got the best content out on peer-reviewed health studies. Do not drink your coffee immediately on waking. At least wait 90 minutes, and you will get such a jolt. It will help you so much throughout the day. So if you can, put off drinking coffee for 90 minutes upon waking. If you want to be a real ninja, do not break your fast with coffee. Start coffee at 11 in the morning. Okay? Now, if you want to get real hardcore and do what I do, and I'm talking really to the men in this room. Men in this room, guys, your first meal should be at 1 o'clock if you're having dinner at 7 o'clock. This one simple change, here's what it does, guys. It changes your body composition. Just doing this is going to make you have more muscle and less fat. It's amazing. It's going to raise your metabolism. It's going to boost your immune system. Fasting is amazing. Here's what fasting does for your immune system. It takes your immune system that's in your bloodstream, your white blood cells, and it makes it go into your bone marrow. No other thing does this for your immune system other than fasting. This is the only thing that does it. It takes your immune system out of your bloodstream, it puts it in your bone marrow, and it gets rid of old immune cells, and it replaces them with young, healthy immune cells. It regenerates your immune system when you fast. But the research shows you need to have, it's dependent on your metabolism, so we recommend a 16-hour fast. Now, how you break the fast is extremely important, okay? The worst thing you can break your fast with is a high carbohydrate meal. Pancakes, cereal, oatmeal. The worst thing you can break your fast with is carbohydrates for a couple reasons. Number one reason, it's going to make you hungry all day. Does anybody here want to be hungry all day? So when I was trying to gain weight, I played college football. I was always too skinny for my position. I would wake up at 3 in the morning and eat 6 pancakes because I knew it would make me hungry all day, and that's how I put on 45 pounds. Terrible for your immune system. Awful. Got sick all the time. had the bubble guts, had stomach aches all the time, but I needed to put on weight to play college football. Okay, do not recommend it. There's 3 things you want to have in your meal if you're breaking a fast. Number 1 is protein, number 2 is fat, and number 3 is if there is carbohydrates, it must be paired with fiber. So carbohydrates would be like berries. What do berries have with the sugar that's in the berry? Fiber. That's super important. So you want to do a high fiber fruit if you're going to be breaking your fast with fruit, but it's got to have protein, fat, and high fiber. Guys, if there's one thing you take from today, it's this: fast and break your fast properly. The second aspect of what your meal should look like, it should not be a feast. Are you with me? You should break your fast with a smaller meal to regulate your blood sugar, and then you can feast and eat whatever you want afterwards. But wait an hour or 2, and then you can feast. So I will break my fast with a smoothie, and then an hour later, I will eat the biggest damn salad you've ever seen in your life. Massive salad loaded with protein. But I don't want to break my fast with that giant salad. Okay, even if it's good food, even if it's a lot of protein, it's going to make your insulin go up too fast after your fast. So to get the benefits, we want to break our fast with protein. Now, this is a super important slide. These 2 things, we're talking about satiety. This comes from a book called The Comfort Crisis. I highly recommend this book. This is an excellent book on getting comfortable and uncomfortable and how do you eat properly, eating when you're actually hungry and not eating for a reward. Who here has ever been sick and it made you eat worse when you get sick? Am I the only one? I want to eat worse when I'm sick. Why that is because food is your comfort. You're not eating because you're hungry. You need the dopamine reward because you're in a bad mood and you don't feel good. It's almost like a drug. Antidepressant, anti-anxiety. That's how, I just want to eat bad. I want some takeout food because I don't feel good. I'm not eating for hunger. I'm eating for a dopamine reward. So what that dopamine reward is called satiety. So these two things, a baked potato with butter and a croissant, have the exact same amount of calories. Exactly the same. But to feel the same amount of fullness, you have to eat 7 croissants to feel the same fullness from one baked potato. Okay? Changed my life. That was from the Comfort Crisis book. Because what they're doing with people now, the best long-term weight loss solution, and this is what's coming out in all these weight loss universities, is if you just eat foods that are higher on the satiety scale. So this is the food satiety chart that are over on this level. They make you feel fuller. You'll lose weight longer term than any other method. No other method compares long term to just eating foods that fill you up. So I used to teach, and I'm okay with changing. I would never teach 5 years ago to eat a baked potato because it's loaded with what? Carbohydrates. Everybody should have a baked potato a day now, my opinion, because it makes you so full. You eat a whole baked potato with the skin with a piece of butter on it and see how much food you want to eat afterwards. Eat that first. You're going to have a little bit of steak afterwards because it fills you up. The amount of calories to how full it makes you. Think you got to eat 7 croissants to fill you up. So why we want to break fast with protein is it fills us up. It makes us feel fuller. All right, so now I'm going to get into, guys, before we're about to break for midway point. Is everybody still with me? We still rocking? Yes. About halfway through? A lot of information. We're about halfway done. Am I yelling? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm starting to lose my voice. Yes. All right. So now we're going to get into supplementation and specific things we can do to boost specific parts of our immune system. I've got to read some studies. It may get a little heavy. Then we're going to break, get the energy up, and then we're going to bring it home and have some fun at the end. Okay? So the top 5 immune boosting supplements, and these were really easy to pick out. The literature is really clear on boosting your immune system. The most important immune boosting nutrients are These 5 right here. Hands down. No question. I'm going to give them to you in the order that I think they're important. Okay? So I would rank them in order of importance. Number 1 is breaking your fast with protein. There is no pill you can take that's going to be better for your immune system than fasting and then breaking it properly with protein. Nothing is better for you. I will tell you, if weight loss is your main goal and putting on muscle, whey protein is the best. If gut health and immune health is your main goal, bone broth collagen protein is the best way to break. So it depends on your goals. I personally, because of my health history, I prefer bone broth protein. But if I were wanting to lose weight or you were on a weight loss journey and that was most important to you was your metabolism, whey protein is the best choice.
Did you say bone broth is better for your gut?
Gut and immune system. Now, you can mix it up. You can mix it up. Absolutely, you can mix it up. But if you have, I would say if your main goal is weight loss, and you're like, damn it, I'm getting these 30 pounds off or 50 pounds off, whey protein will speed up your metabolism better than bone broth protein. Okay, number 1 is protein and breaking your fast and not eating for 16 hours. Nothing compares to it in the clinical literature. Yes?
What about lactose intolerance?
Bone broth protein, absolutely. Yep. That collagen protein, why collagen protein is so good for you is it has the proper amino acid ratio to heal the gut lining of the small intestines, the glutamine and the glutamate, where whey protein is lower in those things. Okay? Number 2 is vitamin D3. We pair ours with probiotics just to give you 2 supplements in one. I'm going to read some things on D3. So this is just nuts. Just so you guys know, vitamin D3 is so clinically proven to help with COVID and the immune system that the UK is still paying for every citizen in the UK can get vitamin D3 for free. It's part of everybody gets it for free because the literature on it is so strong. So I'm going to read you guys some highlighted things from the clinical literature on vitamin D3. This should be a singe moment. If you do not take vitamin D3, it is literally less than $1 a day, most likely. If you don't want to take ours, it's fine. Take somebody else's, but you need to be taking it, okay? Research has correlated D3 levels with over 53 different disease states, including Alzheimer's, cancer, MS, osteoporosis, diabetes, depression, and COVID-19. It is estimated that 3% of the human genome is regulated by vitamin D3. 3% of the genes you express is regulated from getting sunlight and having proper vitamin D3 in your bloodstream. Vitamin D is involved in immunity through several mechanisms and plays a role in regulating both innate and adaptive immune responses. That's important. Very few do both your innate response and your adaptive response. Vitamin D acts as an immune system modulator by suppressing inflammation associated with both innate and adaptive immune response. In response to foreign pathogens, the immune system releases small proteins called cytokines, which trigger immune response and help fight the virus. Sometimes this response to infection goes into overdrive and excessive amounts of cytokines are released. This is known as a cytokine storm and can cause hyperinflammation. This inflammation can damage organs throughout the body, leading to pulmonary infiltrates, lung injury, acute respiratory distress syndrome, disseminated intravascular coagulation, renal failure, and eventually death. What did people who died from COVID have? That's what they died from. So I got to share a side story. We had somebody young in our family die from COVID. He was in his 50s. He was an adopted family member. He was Polynesian, which means he had darker complexion. If you have darker complexion, what does that mean? You need more what? Sun. You were meant to have more sun. You were not meant to live in this latitude. You were meant to live in the Caribbean or somewhere much cooler than Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's where your genes come from. And when he got rushed to the hospital in St. Louis, they tested his vitamin D. It was the lowest they had ever tested in that hospital. And he died from that cytokine response. He had less than, has anybody here ever had their vitamin D level tested? I want it above 80. That's where I want it as a clinician. That's where you get the cancer reducing effects. The levels that the FDA recommends are just to keep you from having rickets. It's very low. His was on the level of possibly almost having rickets. That's how low his vitamin D was. And he died from the cytokine storm. It's a tragedy. So after that happened, I was giving away vitamin D to my darker complected patients. I go, you can pay for it at the front or you don't have to. I don't care. But people are dying from this and you don't need to die from it. Okay? Let's move on with vitamin D. Research has also found that vitamin D builds immunity against flu and colds. Vitamin D deficiency is most prevalent in the winter when cold and flu season peaks. Clinical trials have demonstrated that increasing vitamin D levels has shown to decrease incidence of influenza. Research shows that low levels of vitamin D increase the risk of autoimmune conditions, including multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, and inflammatory bowel disease. Early correlation research strongly suggests a link between vitamin D levels and the risk of severity of coronavirus outcomes. In one study, researchers found that patients over the age of 40 were 51% less likely to die from COVID-19 if they had sufficient levels of vitamin D. Over 50%. It was 51.5%. Another study found that COVID-19 patients and vitamin D deficient patients had a higher hospitalization rate, required more intensive oxygen therapy, and invasive mechanical ventilation. And these patients' vitamin D deficiency was associated with a 6-fold higher hazard of severe course of disease and a higher risk of death. 15-fold higher risk of death. Okay? So singe moment, guys. Vitamin D is important. Can we all agree? Very important. So that is number 2. Number 3 is NAC, N-acetylcysteine, Pronac. This is a new guy on the block, new kid on the block. You guys remember that band? Great band. Oh, yeah. So new kid on the block, Pro-NAC. The literature coming out about Pro-NAC is amazing. Has anybody here heard of this already? Okay, you guys, it's starting to come out. The literature's coming out. I would say this is number 3. What Pro-NAC does, it is the greatest driver of glutathione in your body. Who here has heard of glutathione? Oh man, guys, this is the good stuff, glutathione. So glutathione is the master antioxidant in the body. It slows down aging. It helps your immune system. It is the master antioxidant. You cannot eat enough blueberries to ever compete with the antioxidants of glutathione. It's not even in the same ballpark. If it's between blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, or blackberries, or this, just do this for the rest of your life. That's how powerful an antioxidant this is. I'm going to kind of list off the things NAC does. It boosts glutathione. It helps diminish kidney and liver damage by detoxing the body. It improves mental health conditions and substance abuse disorders because it increases the glutamate in your brain that comes from the glutathione. Studies show that NAC may decrease marijuana and nicotine use and cravings because it's so good for your brain. Helps relieve the symptoms of respiratory conditions by loosening mucus, and it's a strong acting antioxidant in the lung tissue. It boosts your brain health by regulating glutamate and replenishing glutathione. Animal studies suggest that NAC may slow the loss of thinking ability in people with Alzheimer's disease. It appears to improve both dopamine function and the diseases that cause tremors like Parkinson's disease. This is my favorite. It's been shown to improve fertility in both men and women because it increases the antioxidant effects in the reproductive system. It stabilizes blood sugar by reducing inflammation in fat cells, and it reduces heart risk by preventing oxidative stress. The ability to boost glutathione improves your immune system. So lots of reasons. This is number 3. So our bundle, guys, what we're recommending for the challenge is protein, vitamin D3, and Pronac. Those are the 3. Now, here's what I love about Pronac. This is a 4-month supply. This one bottle is a 4-month supply, guys. 1 pill a day. Super, super cost effective. This vitamin D3 is the cheapest supplement we sell. By far the cheapest, super, super affordable. So this right here, guys, is the bundle, protein, Pronac, and vitamin D3. That is the goal of our challenge. Now, if you get those 3, What we're recommending is we're going to be giving you a free body scan today to check your body fat. You'll get one at the end of the month of November. You can also get one at the end of the month of December for free, no charge, if you do the bundle, okay? The reason being, the goal of this bundle and the challenge is twofold: for you to lose weight over the next 2 months. You can imagine that. You lose weight over the month of November and December. Because everything that makes you lose weight is good for your what? Immune system. The second goal is that if you do this challenge, that you do not get a cold or flu, you don't get sick. Think about that, guys. Over the next 2 months, you lose weight and you do not get an infection. That is the goal of the bundle. So if you do those 3, you get a free body scan. If you just guys want to do one of them or whatever, that's fine, but that is the bundle that I've chosen, and that's what I'm going to be doing over these next 2 to 4 months. Now, if you want to add vitamin C and zinc, I really recommend these. So zinc and vitamin C, what they boost and what they activate is your adaptive immune system. So these are the notes. The top 5 immune boosting supplements are vitamin C, D3, protein, zinc, and Pronac. High quality protein and NAC have been clinically proven to boost glutathione. That's what they do. That's why they're good for you. They're glutathione boosters. Zinc and vitamin C have been proven clinically to activate and regenerate adaptive killer T cells and white blood cells. That's your adaptive immune system. And vitamin D3 probiotics have been clinically found to lower your risk of 53 diseases, and and vitamin D boosts both your innate and your adaptive immune system. So I only really recommend vitamin C and zinc if you have a history of infections. Do you get colds? Do you get the flu? Are you worried about COVID? Do you get sinus infections? Are you somebody who gets sick a lot? Guys, I don't take vitamin C all year round. I don't take zinc year round. I only take it during the winter months. I don't feel like it's a good supplement to take all year. Okay? So what comes great, guys, is everybody have this here, this laminated sheet. So this little laminated sheet we do with challenges has worked better than any other challenge we've ever done, this habit tracker. So if you're going to be a part of the challenge, are you going to break your fast with a protein shake? Can you get in a little workout? Can you drink water? Now, how much water should we drink? Does anybody know the magic equation? Half your weight in ounces. What is the Maynard equation? 100 ounces. Interdependent of what you weigh. The clinical research shows something magic happens at 3 liters of water, 100 ounces. Doesn't matter if you're a 300-pound guy or a 100-pound little petite girl. Everybody should drink 100 ounces of water, which is 3 liters. 2 advanced planned meals. We'll get into what that looks like. Do you do your home care? Take care of your spine. Take a progress picture. Here's the buzzkill, no alcohol. That's a buzzkill. Read 10 pages of nonfiction. Guys, we've been doing this challenge. People losing weight. Their lives have completely transformed by just checking the habits. Again, all these things are simple truths, really simple to do, easy to do. Are you doing them? Are you breaking your fast with a protein shake? Are you drinking 100 ounces of water every day? Are you doing 2 healthy meals? Are you doing your spinal home care every day like you're supposed to take care of your spine and nervous system? Are you avoiding alcohol? Are you reading 10 pages of something like the Bible or inspirational or nonfiction that's going to get your mindset stronger? That is a challenge. But your exercise, we're going to get right into the notes, really helps your immune system in 6 ways. And this is important because in my opinion, when I have patients on my table, and if I were to choose one thing that if I had like a genie and I could make you all do, it would be exercise. Personally, Because in my opinion, exercise is the biggest keystone habit. And a keystone habit is like if you make your bed, then you're more organized in the morning. If you're more organized in the morning, then you're more likely to make a smoothie. If you're more likely to make a smoothie, you have better energy. If you have better energy, you're nicer to your wife and your kids. If you're nicer to your wife and your kids, they love you more. You see, because you made your bed in the morning, now you have a better relationship with your wife and kids. Like, that's called a keystone habit. It leads to a lot of other healthy habits. When you exercise, people exercise eat better typically. You're going to make better food choices because you're working out. People who exercise have better regulation of their oxytocin, their serotonin, and their dopamine. They're going to have a better outlook on life. They're going to have less depression. They're going to have less anxiety. When you exercise, it changes your body composition, and it makes you have more confidence. The first thing somebody sees when they see you is your posture. The second thing they see is your body composition. That's how much muscle you have compared to how much fat you have. You feel better when you look better. So the 6 ways that exercise boosts your immune system is, number 1 is increases your cellular immunity. What that means real easily is it pumps your blood through your body. So what research shows is when you exercise, you recognize infections quicker in your body. You recognize infections quicker in your body when you exercise because you're pumping your immune system through your bloodstream at a faster rate. Why is that important? What do viruses have to reproduce? A host. So if they can reproduce before your immune system finds them, you see they get a stronger foothold into your body. You're a softer target. They have a longer chance to build more soldiers before your immune system actually attacks them. So it makes you recognize the foreign things in your bloodstream faster. Number 2, it increases your body temperature. You get a mini fever when you exercise. So this was a singe moment for me. Who here, when they were a kid, were given something to reduce their fever? I was. You should almost never do that. Ever. The literature, the pediatric literature, if a medical doctor tells you to lower your child's fever, you should get a new medical doctor. Because all the literature says you should never lower the fever. Only in extreme cases, which is 104 temperature, more than 3 days. Now, I didn't know that. That was a singe moment for me. We have never given our kids a fever reducer. Okay? Now, I want to say, my daughter got a really bad ear infection, and I, the chiropractor, was like, let's give her some Tylenol. Because I find most people give their kids fever reducers, not because it's good for them, they don't want to see their kids suffer. Like, that's the big reason. And I get that. It was hard. Thank God my wife said, hey, are we in this or are we in this? Or do you believe in the body or do you don't? Do you read, like the peer-reviewed literature says, if it doesn't fit this criteria, you should never lower their fever. If you take fever-reducing medication, it's going to increase your chances of getting cancer later on in life. When you're building your fever, you're tuning up your immune system. You're tuning up how your innate and your artificial immune system works. So, when you work out, you get a little fever. So if you have a little infection starting, like a little bacterial viral infection, you're going to get an artificial fever before you would actually get that real fever to come on. So it's going to boost the fever. Number 3, it makes you sleep better. So we want to sleep to have a strong immune system. You get better quality and quantity sleep when you exercise. Both quality of your sleep and the quantity. Number 4, if you exercise, you have a less chance of having heart disease and diabetes. Those are metabolic diseases. So again, I want to go back to like the COVID messaging. If you got COVID, what was the worst thing you could have? Heart disease and diabetes. Because when you have heart disease and diabetes, your immune system is screwed up. Is everybody with me? Is it okay if I'm just really up front right now? Okay. If you take a high blood pressure pill, you don't have high blood pressure, you have cardiovascular disease. If you take cholesterol lowering medication, you don't have high cholesterol, you have cardiovascular disease.
you have those diseases. If you're taking a medication to have pre-diabetes or like a metformin or something to bring down your blood sugar, you don't have hypoglycemia, you have a metabolic syndrome. You're in the middle of building these diseases, and if you exercise, the chances of you having those is much lower, and you can reverse those. You can reverse them with exercise. So it's going to reduce your heart disease and diabetes if you exercise. Number 5, no drug study in the history of pharmaceuticals has reduced depression more than exercise. No true antidepressants combined, no two combined, has helped to reduce depression more than exercise. So that's how it's going to boost your immune system. And then number 6 is it reduces resting inflammation. It reduces inflammation in your body. Remember, we want to have a low resting inflammation, especially with COVID. So that's how exercise helps your immune system. Now, how much exercise should we have? The dose is really important. And this is important. And I learned this. Has anybody heard of CrossFit? I got really into CrossFit for a long amount of time. And I really did not have a strong immune system for a long amount of time because of CrossFit. Some aspects of it. Now, not every CrossFit gym is bad, but the dose is really important. There was at one time I was part of a gym where we worked out really hard for a long period of time. You do not want to do that. You do not work out really hard for more than 40 minutes. That is not something you do. That will weaken your immune system. That is bad for you. So if we're going to work out really hard, that's good for us. But what do we need to do if we're going to work out really hard? A short amount of time. This is very important. The dose is so powerful when it comes to exercise. So here's the dose. The minimum effective dose of exercise is 75 minutes of vigorous physical activity a week, or 150 to 300 minutes of moderate exercise per week. 75 minutes of vigorous, 150 to 300 minutes of exercise if it's moderate. So like, what's the difference between 150 or 300? Like jogging would be 150 minutes a week of jogging. 300 minutes would be like of walking. So if you know like, hey, I can only walk, that's fine. You need to walk 300 minutes a week. Is everybody with me? Very clear. Now, when I talk to patients and I'm like, you just exercise. Just exercise. It's a keystone habit. It will change your health. What is the number one excuse I get for not exercise? Time. Not even close. Don't have time. So if time is an issue, which one should we choose? The vigorous or the moderate? Vigorous. So the recommendation we give, and it's an amazing recommendation, it's our program, it's called Max T3. It's 12 minutes, 6 days a week, which is right around that vigorous threshold. It's very difficult exercise for a short dose of time, and it kind of gets rid of that time, and here's why. Can you find 12 minutes?
Yeah.
Can you find 12 minutes? Absolutely. But here's the thing. Remember that thing we talked about, the singe moments. A singe moment is knowing it's not really the time, is it? It's not fun to exercise. Okay, everybody agree? Does everybody want to work out really hard for 12 minutes? Do you look forward to that? So I would say, if I were to give you guys a recommendation, you should choose the exercise you enjoy. Choose the exercise you enjoy, okay? If you don't enjoy anything, make yourself do Max T3. I would rather you walk for 300 minutes if you enjoy walking with a friend and talking, you like being out in nature, you like doing that. That's going to get much more benefit than doing something you really hate doing, you don't look forward to doing. Because it's not really time. Time, I can't work out because the time is the same thing as saying, my dog ate my homework when you were in middle school. You guys remember saying that? The teacher goes, oh, I bet it did. You know what I mean? And you're like, I don't have time. I'm sitting there going, oh, I bet your dog ate your homework. I understand it. you don't want to exercise. I don't want to exercise. Now, 100 years ago, or let's say 300 years ago, or 500 years ago, or let's go even back 5,000 years ago, why did you exercise? To eat. To eat. If you didn't exercise, you didn't eat. Right? That's what we've lost. You guys see the energy trade-off we've lost. So I really highly recommend finding anything you enjoy. Find a gym that you have a community that you love, of people. Go to Crunch Fitness. Find a personal trainer. If you have the funds, my opinion, the best investment you can make if you have the funds is a personal trainer, without question. 2 days a week, 1 day a week, 1 day a month, whatever it is, somebody to keep you accountable to make sure that you have a partner in crime when it comes to doing exercise. Find a sport that you like. We have a lot of tennis players we take care of, pickleball players we take care of. Love those individuals, and I'll tell you a very strong thread I see behind people that find a sport or they like to walk for exercise is they're not my depressed patients. They're not my anxious patients. My anxious and depressed patients typically are ones that don't have some type of physical outlet. Is everybody with me? Okay? Now I do want to demonstrate. So everybody on your feet. On your feet. We are going to find out what physical, vigorous exercise feels like. Okay? What defines vigorous exercise? Heart rate. How do you know your heart rate's high enough? You cannot carry on a conversation with a person next to you. That is, everybody know the threshold. So if you can talk, you are not doing vigorous exercise. So what we are going to do is we are going to run in place. Hold on. First rule is nobody's allowed to get hurt. That is rule number 1. You are not allowed to get hurt. So we're going to run in place for 20 seconds. That is it. You guys feel like you can run in place for 20 seconds? All right, let's get some music. I will keep count. What's that? It's like this. Okay, hold on. Are we ready? You are moving your legs and your arms as fast as you can for 20 seconds. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Move, go! Faster! Move your arms! Get your arms going! Go! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How do we feel, guys? Keep going? What was rule number 1? Not allowed to. So I'm just gonna we're gonna wrap things up here, guys. I'm gonna speak from the heart. I caught my kids working out at my house yesterday. Didn't have to tell them to do it. Doing push-ups, doing burpees, grabbing weights, pretending like they're on the Peloton. Why are my kids working out? They see me work out at the house. The 2 most important words in the human language are role model. And you don't know how important you are to other people. You're too important to be sick. You're too important not to work out. People are watching you. When I had kids, I have like a mentor for like parenting. He said, your kids are going to rarely listen to you, Cameron, but they're never going to fail becoming you. The example you set and what you do. A lot of you need to work out not for yourself, but it's for your kids. It's for your grandkids. Imagine you got a grandparent that's working out, what that means to you. See them be active and move. That's an inspiration to the generation below you. So get moving, not just for yourself, but for your generations to come. The people that watch you and look up to you. I cannot think of a better gift to give your kids than them to see you work out, and to see you push, and to go through hard things, and to get uncomfortable, and to value your health enough to spend time, energy, and resources in front of them to do it yourself. Okay? All right, so the real definition of health, and we're going to get into the spine and nervous system. This is what I'm excited about. Is the real definition of health is one word, and that word is function. Function is the definition of health. So 100% function. What controls all function in your body is the central nervous system. Brain, brainstem, and spinal cord. The nervous system controls every function in your body. It's the only system encased in bone. And the main job of the spine is to protect the central nervous system. That is the main job of the spine, is protection. So when you get in a car wreck, or you herniate a disc, or you lift up something and you hurt your back, the spine goes from protecting the nervous system to damaging the nervous system. You know what that feels like, Sanford, right? So why does spine pain hurt so bad? Why do you get searing pain? What is your body trying to tell you? There's something wrong with what? Your nervous system, which is the most important system. That's why it sends such bad signals, because it wants to protect that system over any other system. Is your central nervous system, and is protected by the spine. So when we look at a spine, normal is straight from front to back. We want to see straight. From the side, we've got to have 3 C-shaped curves. 3 curves from the side. That is a normal protective position for the spine. The further your spine deviates from that normal, the more tension it puts on the spinal cord and the central nervous system. We know this through Dr. Alfred Bregg's research. When your head goes forward and you look like this, it causes pain, but the real issue is it puts pressure on the central nervous system by stretching the spinal cord. That's why we want to have good, nice, healthy posture, is through protection. All right, now when things go bad, when the spine moves out of its normal alignment, that is called spinal subluxation. Subluxation means less than dislocation. Is everybody with me? You ever felt like the crick in the neck? You ever done that? You slept wrong? You didn't dislocate your neck. You subluxated it. It's less than a dislocation. And subluxations left uncorrected lead to degeneration, early disease process of the spine. Subluxations are corrected by adjustments and home care. That is how we correct subluxations, by you guys doing the traction, the things we ask you to do at home, the Denny roll, it may be a head weight, a postural exercise, isometric exercise. Is everybody doing their exercises? And then your adjustments. When Dr. Maynard rips your head off. Does everybody know that adjustment? That's what we're removing, the subluxations, the malpositions. Okay? So, that is what we're trying to do. Now, why is that important for the immune system? Why is that more than just headaches, neck pain, back pain? All the literature in chiropractic is not pointing towards being better for pain. It's okay for pain, guys. It feels good. When your back hurts, I've been there. It feels good to get adjusted. I've had a headache, get adjusted, and the headache goes away. I've had that. That's not where the fruit is in the literature. The literature shows by keeping your spine upright, good posture, moving well without little dislocations, is it helps your immune system, because it helps your body adapt to its environment. So this is in the notes. Chiropractic patients that have been under care for 5 or more years saw a 200 increase in immune competence on average. If you've been a patient for more than 5 years and you've been keeping up with some type of maintenance, you don't have to come 3 times a week or even every week, but some type of maintenance, your immune system is twice as strong as somebody else who hasn't. How in the crap does that happen? By some bald guy with a beard pushing on your back. You know what I mean? Like, how does that happen? It's because it helps you adapt to stress. All stresses enter in through the central nervous system. The central nervous system controls your endocrine system and your immune system, and it's a three-legged stool. This is drilled into us at chiropractic school. I could recite to you all the mechanisms, how all this works. This is what is drilled into us all the time from the power of the adjustment. How when you correct somebody's spine, this is what it does. It allows you to adapt to stress better. Who has heard of heart rate variability? Anybody word like a whoop? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The whoops? So here's what heart rate variability is. This is super important. I can tell you how well you do with stress by looking at your heart rate variability. The literature is really clear with this. Your heartbeat should not be monotone. It should not be even. Does that make sense, guys? It should not be. If your heart rate is completely even, that is a bad sign. That does mean you're not adapting to the environment. It should have little variations in it. It should be kind of different. The things that kill heart rate variability are lack of sleep, alcohol. If you guys ever wear a whoop, go out on night on the town here. We'll go out to the Blue Dome District and we'll check your heart rate variability. It'll be trashed. And then having a bad spine crashes your heart rate variability. Those things kill it. When you get adjusted, it immediately changes your heart rate variability to where you're more able to adapt to stresses. That's why somebody got adjusted and you kind of feel like a weight lifted off of you. You're going to feel like a stress relief. That's from your increased rate of heart rate variability. This is really important. It's a wellness concept. This is a health concept. This is not a low back pain concept. When you guys tell me, Doc, it hurts right here, I want to go into the back room and take a small gun and blow my brains out. That's what I want to do. I get it. I want to help you with that. Thank you for telling me. But we're doing this for a much bigger reason. We're getting adjusted for health and wellness. I'm not saying don't tell me that, guys. But when you go, it's right here. When I go to my chiropractor, when I get adjusted, I go, hey, something's up here, check it out. But I do not say, I hurt right here, you need to push right here. Or you're like, I hurt right here. Hey, doc, you didn't hit right here. That's not what chiropractic is about. It's a wellness concept, it's a health concept. It's just like eating good, exercising, having a great mindset. That's what it's about. It's about building your ability to adapt to stress and improving your posture. That's the conversations we want to have. Okay? So what are the warning signs that you have issues with your spine? First of all, if you've never had this checked, you've never had an x-ray, I highly recommend just getting it checked, just to see what the structure looks like. Because sometimes the warning signs are nothing. We've x-rayed especially a lot of young females, and their spine looks like a question mark, like a big scoliosis, and guess what they feel? Nothing. They feel great, they feel fine, they have no pain, and they've got this huge scoliosis. So it's just good to get it checked. Like it's good to get your eyes checked, it's good to get other organ systems checked. It's just a good idea to get your spine checked by somebody you trust, that you know is going to give you an honest recommendation, somebody you have good rapport with. Again, it could be somebody else. You may live in a different state, a different part of town. Find out, ask in your area if there's a good chiropractor that keeps coming up, and have them at least take a look at your spine to see if everything's looking okay. Okay? The big warning signs if something's wrong with your spine, number one is headaches. By far the number one symptom is headaches, and any type of spinal pain, neck pain, mid-back pain, low back pain. Any type of numbness or tingling is a big sign of spinal issues. And then a lot of that people don't talk about, I think we should talk about more, is lack of range of motion and stiffness. You should be able to, your whole life into your 80s, have 50 degrees of extension, 60 degrees of flexion, 45, 90 in your neck. Why do we have backup cameras in vehicles? The population does not have that. We do not have that. So a big sign is lack of stiffness. You can't move. The biggest thing we hear, like initially from patients, and I just heard it. I heard it this week. I didn't know I wasn't moving my head like I was supposed to. I can turn, like she raised her hand. She's like, I can turn my head now. Because what happens is if you can't turn your head this way and you can't turn it for 30 years, what happens? That becomes permanent. That becomes your new range of motion. And now it's stuck there, and that's all you're going to get. So we want to really look to your range of motion. The other thing, another big warning sign is your posture. This is not normal. This is not the posture we want to be in. This is a sick posture. We want to be good, upright posture our entire life. I love seeing older people with great posture. They just want to give up, give them a kiss, give them a hug. And I hate seeing young people with poor posture. You see the young individuals already, you're starting behind the eight ball. It's a lifetime of headaches, back pain, and health concerns. So if you've never had this check, your next step is to schedule an exam in the office somewhere. Now I'll tell you what we're doing. At the end of this workshop, we're going to give, if you've never been checked, we're going to give you a great opportunity for a great cause to make a donation and come in and get checked in our office, get all the x-rays, posture assessment, range of motion exam. We'll do a physical exam of you. Just a little key, guys, when we push into your spine or push into soft tissue, it should not hurt. Does everybody know that's normal, right? So if I push into your back and you feel pain, guess what that is called? Abnormal. It's abnormal. So when we push on the exam, if there's any hot spots or pain, we know there's most likely a subluxation there, a lessened dislocation, something's going on. We'll talk about at the end if you want to take advantage of that, how you can make a donation and get that scheduled.
First of all, you do not take vitamin D2. That's what most doctors recommend. That's what you get from the pharmacy. You do not take D2, you take D3. You need to take it with fat. It's fat soluble. There's another form called micelinized. Okay, it's the liquid form. And you should this is better for absorption. It will raise your blood levels of vitamin D faster and higher. Is everybody with me? Stronger. I recommend this for everybody over 55 or if you have a digestive issue. Okay? It is better than the other vitamin D3, the pills. Now, why would I recommend you take the pills? It's more natural. It's like the more way you would naturally take it. This is a little bit more of an artificial way to take vitamin D3. Is everybody tracking with me? Okay? If you know your levels of vitamin D3 are low or you're over 55, what our recommendation is that you do one round of this and then you switch to the pills to ensure that your blood levels go high. But this will raise your blood levels really quickly. Okay? Very powerful. It's almost about the same price as the other one. But it's a better way to raise your vitamin D. Okay, now why I don't do it is it's a little more artificial. The other one is more like eating vitamin D3 in your food. Okay, everybody with me on D3? Super important. Over 55, or if you have a history of gut dysbiosis or gut distress, we recommend that you take the liquid form for absorption. All right, our toxic environment. We know we're toxic. We come in contact with more toxins in 2 days than we would have come in contact our whole lifetime in the year 1900. So in 2 days, we come in contact with more toxins than we would have 100 years ago in our whole lifetime. Big toxic load. We can do a whole seminar on toxins. You detox through your liver, your pancreas, your intestines, your kidneys. We left off your lungs and your skin, also detox. There's some common symptoms of toxicity. The big ones, I would say, you know you're toxic. Here's when you know you're toxic, guys. You feel like you're doing everything right and you're still not getting healthy. That would be the best way of knowing you're toxic, in my opinion. These are the patients, the red flags that go off for me. They go, Doc, I'm eating good, I'm exercising, I'm drinking the water, I'm doing everything right, but I'm still having this persistent symptom. That's when I shift to more of a toxicity way of thinking. Okay? I still have brain fatigue. I still have loss of energy. I get nausea, consistent gut issues. There could be a toxicity issue. Now, I don't want to go into cosmetics and deodorant and shampoos and carpet cleaners. The subject is vast, and you would technically have to, remember the show Bubble Boy? Like to avoid toxins, that's what we'd have to do. But the majority, where do you think is the majority of the place that you get exposed to toxicity? If you had to guess what you do every day that exposes you to toxins, what would your number one guess be? Shower's a very good guess. It's a good guess. I heard it? kitchen. It's the food you eat. Okay, guys? So the low-hanging fruit with toxicity is the food you eat, right? It's what you eat. So this is where we're going to talk about the nutrition plans. So everybody should have the sheet. It's got the core plan and the advanced plan. It's a two-sided sheet. It's a food list. And this is the best detox program there is. It's changing the foods that you eat. All right? Now, I just want to, let's remind us, where do these foods eventually end up? Why do we eat them? Where do they end up? Our bloodstream. What pathway do these foods get into our bloodstream from? What organ? Small intestines. Is everybody with me? So we do not want toxins to accumulate in our small intestines because that's called leaky gut. Who's heard of leaky gut? That's little holes that get punched in your small intestines, and then pieces of food come into those holes, and then that's why you get autoimmune conditions. That's the root of a lot of thyroid conditions, lupus, and really all autoimmune. They think rheumatoid arthritis as well. It's from the damage from the toxins, and we could call it glutenotoxin or food sensitivities, but your damaged fats, damaged oils, all those things that we shouldn't be eating are making it to our small intestines, and they're punching holes. The foods on this list will not punch holes in your small intestines, okay? Now, if you do have food sensitivities, there's some of you that already have holes in your gut, you may be sensitive to some of these foods. Are you guys with me? Okay? So this is, if you know you have a history of gut issues, you may want to get a food sensitivity test. Because like eggs, I eat eggs every day. There's some of you in here that if you eat eggs, they would be bad for your small intestines. And you'd be able to know that through some food testing. But as a general rule, 95% of us in the room, we should be following one of these two plans, the core plan or the advanced plan. So the core plan, which is now called the Max Living Nutrition Plan, is our base plan, and it's basically everything you eat should have one ingredient. So if it's got one ingredient, you can eat it. Any fruit, any vegetable, you can do old grains, whole sprouted, stone ground grains. You can do avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, flaxseed, hemp, walnut oil. You can do some fermented soy, animal proteins. You can do any type of dairy. Anything goes, guys, as long as it's one ingredient. Is everybody with me? This is how my kids eat. Okay? Now the other plan, the advanced plan, this is if you have any health challenge. So if you are on any medication, that means you have a health challenge. Any medication, I would recommend the advanced plan until you can safely come off that medication. Now let's say you're a type 1 diabetic. You're going to be taking insulin for the rest of your life. Does anybody know a type 1 diabetic? Which is, what causes type 1 diabetes? Autoimmune. It's an autoimmune condition that happens. Your body attacks your pancreas cells. You should be eating advanced plan for the rest of your life to keep your glycemic load down. The goal of the advanced plan is to keep your blood sugar down because probably the biggest toxin you're going to come in contact with is simple refined sugar. Okay, now even sugar from fruit. So the way the advanced plan is different is there's going to be less fruit. You can only eat certain fruits, and if you really look on here, you've got the low sugar fruits. So you can do Granny Smith apples, lemons, limes, blackberries, blueberries, boysenberries, elderberries, gooseberries, Logan. Who's had a loganberry before? You've had a loganberry? Is it good? No. Never. But you can eat them if you'd like. You can have a loganberry. Raspberries, strawberries, you can have avocado. The other change is the plant-based carbohydrates are different. So we're going to recommend lower carbohydrate grains on the advanced plan. Now, I want to make this really simple for you guys. Here's how I do the advanced plan, and I would recommend if you have any, again, if you're on any medication or you want to lose weight or there's any health challenge, it's called the 3 S's. A smoothie a day, a a salad a day, and something sensible a day. Every day. That's what every day looks like. A smoothie, like the recipe we have, which would be a high-quality protein, a greens mix. You can get fat in. I love putting almond butter in a smoothie. If you guys want to know, that's a secret weapon that makes us taste like a Reese's peanut butter cup. The saltiness of the almond butter pairs well with the stevia and the chocolate. But you can get fat from avocado in your smoothie as well. So a nice smoothie, a salad. Eat as big a salad as you want with hard-boiled eggs or chicken or beef or some type of protein on it. But any salad with what's the big thing you got to keep out of the salad is high sugar fruits. Raisins, you don't want to have raisins on it, things like that. And then something sensible. What is something sensible? A protein choice in vegetables. That's the advanced plan, guys. I've never met anybody who's eaten that way and not got healthy, ever. That's the beauty of the body. It works. I've never met anybody who's eaten that way for a long period of time and not seen a drastic improvement in their health. A smoothie, a salad, and something sensible. That is the advanced plan. I would recommend one of these two plans for the next 2 months. And I would recommend that you guys have your cheat meals on Thanksgiving, cheat meal on Christmas. What we do in our family is we pick one holiday between Christmas and Thanksgiving to be a healthy holiday and one to be a bad. Let's just call it what it is. Snickerdoodles, the sweet potato casserole with the brown sugar, bad. Yeah.
If you have a cheat meal, will your system reject it and get diarrhea?
Most likely, yes. Yes, you will. So the cheat meal is up to you. We kind of say, we say one meal a week if you want to, but I have found it's easier for me long term if I don't do the cheat meal, for me. Now, I think different personalities, they need that. They kind of need that a little bit. I will tell you one of the hacks to this is you are allowed to have a third of a bar of dark chocolate every day. On this plan, it needs to be 80% or higher dark chocolate. That is really good for satiation before bed. Another thing that I used to teach that is wrong, I used to teach to get your carbohydrates earlier in the day. That is not a good strategy. You should try to get your carbohydrates if you're going to get them in at night. I want you to think anytime you eat carbohydrates, you eat fruit or you eat like a healthy bread, it's going to make you hungrier for the rest of the day. So it's not as good for your blood panel to eat the sugar at night, but as a long-term solution, I'd rather you not be hungry in the day. You're going to do much better long-term if you're not hungry throughout the day. So do a really clean protein shake, do a salad, and then if you do some carbohydrates, do them at night with dinner. Let's get, just real quick, guys, I'm going to give you the quick and dirty mindset, and I'm going to get to talk to you about something really cool that I lead down in Florida 3 times a year, a camp experience. I'm going to walk you through an exercise that I feel like is a really helpful exercise to leave today, these 3 hours, and actually take action, to plant a seed and see it grow and be able to look back in 6 months and say, damn it, like I made a change, like something really changed. And the big thing that we have seen with mindset is, and this is what we want to write down, is the opposite mental state of depression and anxiety is gratitude, and what you focus on expands or grows. So if you have a high level of gratitude, it's really hard to feel down about the past, and it's really hard to feel fearful about the future. If you are vibrating at that level, if you're grateful for your family, you're grateful for the country that we live in, for the high standard of living we have. Now, what's hard about gratitude, in my opinion, is I don't realize how grateful I am for my health until what? Till you lose it. Have you guys ever done that? Man, I can't wait to be healthy. And the challenge I would have to you guys is don't have to go through suffering until you're grateful for something. Don't have to be grateful for your kid. Think if you lost a kid, heaven forbid, how grateful you would be for your other kid. Or if you lost your spouse, how grateful you would be for your spouse. Or if you had to lose your health, or you had to declare bankruptcy because of medical bills, how thankful you would be. So we want to try to, if you know you have depression or anxiety, or you know there's some stuff going on upstairs, guys, the shortcut is gratitude, being grateful for what you do have. Like, I don't want to be like the 10-minute psychologist. I'm not a psychologist. I've read a lot of books on the subject, and the common thread behind the books is that if you're grateful, you're going to have a healthier mindset. Now, how I practice this is I write it down. I've got to stop myself and think about it. I don't know if anybody else is like this. This has not come naturally to me. My brain works the opposite way. You know what I can find real quick? What's missing, what I'm not happy with, things that need to be changed. I need to improve this. I need to do this. But gratitude and forcing myself to reframe, like, okay, what are you grateful for, Cameron? I got this amazing practice, these amazing patients. I get to do this. I get to do what I love. I get to do a job that I'm passionate about. Like, how many people can really say they get to do what they love for a living and see people's lives change? Like, I should be grateful for this. And then what you focus on expands. What you focus on grows. Like, who here was taught how to play? Who here, their father or their grandfather played catch with them out in the yard and played? What did your dad tell you to do? Keep your eye on the ball, right? If you take your eye off the ball, it looks real small, but if you keep your eye on it, it looks bigger to you, so it's easier to hit. What you focus on expands. Who remembers the old motivational speaker, Earl Nightingale? Do you guys remember him? I'm addicted to his stuff. If you guys look him up, Google him. He was from the 50s. He was a radio announcer. And he's got like the most tried and tested motivational speaking I've ever heard. It's so good and it's timeless. It will never go out of style. And here's what he said. I listened to his stuff. I listened to it this morning. Like, what's the definition of success? What is it? Like, everybody's got a different definition of success. What's the definition of success for you as far as like health? What's the definition of success for like your family? What's the definition of success when you look at like your relationships? Everybody kind of has different definitions of success. But what Earl Nightingale said, and I think this is the proper definition of success. Definition of success is your movement towards your ideal in that situation. Is your progress towards an ideal. Are you making progress towards an ideal? I will tell you my ideal from a health standpoint, I'm just going to be very transparent. I would not say I'm a success if I have to take a medication. I wouldn't call that ideal. If I have to do it, I got to do it. I'm grateful that it's there. But ideally speaking, I don't want to ever have to take a medication. I don't ever want to have a surgery. I ideally do not want to have chemotherapy and radiation. I ideally want to have energy. I want to be able to have freedom in my body. I never want my body to have restrict me on the vacations I can take, time with my family, restrict me on my ability to pick up my grandkids, lay around on the ground with them. That is my ideal. So if I'm not progressing towards my ideal, am I a success? I'm not. So your progression towards your own ideal, that is what is important. So how do you know what your ideal is? I'm going to give you guys a prompt that we use in something called Camp Transformation. And this is it, guys. We take healthcare providers, and over 3 days in Florida, there was about 60 of them here. These are all doctors. Some are chiropractors. There's medical doctors. There's naturopaths. There's CAs, assistants. And we make them work out so hard they want to throw up for 3 days. We break down their physical body. Because if we get the body out of the way, we can start working on their what? Their mind, right? There's no more resistance. And a good prompt we give them is, I want you guys to fill this out in your notes. When it comes to health, I thought by now I would have at least what? Like, I thought by now I would at least not eat cookies, or I at least could stick to some nutrition plan, or I could at least get up and exercise, or I could at least be proud about how I feel in my body, or build muscle, or be strong, whatever it is. When it comes to health, I thought by now I at least have kicked the medication, or I would have done this. I would have got my blood levels tested. I thought by now I would at least blank. And the reason I haven't is blank. What's the reason you haven't by now? So when it comes to health, I thought by now I would have what? And the reason I haven't is what? Now, if nothing about health is coming up and you're not getting a quick answer, you could just apply this to your whole life. In my life, I thought by now I would have done at least what, and the reason I have it is blank. Okay? Has everybody got an answer? That right there is what we call your pattern. That's a pattern of thinking that you have. Is everybody with me? Okay? So for me, from a health standpoint, when I did this all the way back in chiropractic school, remember, I thought by now I would have quit eating sweets and candy. And here's the reason I haven't. The reason I haven't yet is because I don't really feel like I'm worth being healthy. For me. That goes deep, guys. That's some deep shit, okay? But for me, I realized if you've got a nice Ferrari, what do? Do you take care of it, or what do you do? Take care of it, right? You put the right fuel in it. You keep it in the garage. You don't let your neighbors drive it. You don't let kids touch it. You ever seen like the movie The Hangover? Like, don't even look at it, old man. Like, keep walking. Like, you don't even look at my car. If you're really worth it, if you're worth a Ferrari, you'll take care of it, right? That's why I was eating candy and eating sweets. I didn't really think I was worth taking care of. So that was my pattern I had to address. Now, what we do with that pattern is, everybody's got their own one. We do what's called the Dickens Protocol. This is so powerful. This is about to be Christmas season. Everybody remember the Christmas story, Charles Dickens? Who comes and visits Ebenezer Scrooge? The ghost of Christmas past, present, and future, right? And what we do is we take about an hour in a dark room and we go over, if that doesn't change, that pattern doesn't change, what does the next year of your life look like? What's the next 3 years look like? What's 5 years look like if that doesn't change? What's the next 10 years look like? And it takes us a year to get to 10 years. Like, we're breaking through. What do you look like in the mirror? What's your body feel like? How do people treat you? What medications are you on? What type of doctor visits do you have to go to? What are you starting to looking into a nursing home like in 10 years? Are you able to do your activities of daily living? Really think through the reality. If you keep that pattern, because that's not going to change unless something massive happens, what's it look like? And by that hour, everybody's crying in the room. They're all crying. Because if you really think about if this bad habit I have doesn't consistently change, I don't like the future. Okay, we want to leverage that. So I thought by now I would at least have what? The reason I have it is blank. How are we going to change that? How are we going to change that? So Earl Nightingale, this is the best metaphor for the mind I've ever heard, and I'm going to steal his metaphor, and I think this is true. Is the mind is like a farmer with like a fertile soil, like a fertile farm. So we all live on a farm, and you got this fertile ground. And what you plant in it is what's going to grow, right? That's how it works. What you plant, you can plant seeds of depression, you can plant seeds of unworthiness, you can plant seeds of stress, or you can plant seeds of, I'm going to get this done. You can plant positive things, and those positive things we plant in our brain, the things we focus on and expand, are something called goals. That's a goal. And what I want you to leave with today from this 3 hours together is one health goal. That's it, guys. Just one. One thing. What is one thing we talked about that you can plant in that fertile soil, and it's going to change over the next 2 months? This is the health apocalypse, November and December and January. We're getting ready to get it. What is the one thing that you're going to plant and focus on? Is it the challenge? Are you going to get your body scan? Are you going to take the 3 supplements? Is it going to just be breaking a fast with protein? Is it going to be like, damn it, I've heard that I need to exercise for the last 5 years. I'm going to actually start exercising. What is it for you? And I want everybody here in the room at the bottom of this page to write down that one seed that they are going to plant that is most likely going to make that ghost of Christmas future not come true. That Ebenezer Scrooge you're going to be visited in 10 years, and because you can't change this pattern, something bad's going to really happen. What is that one thing? Let's get it down. The one goal you have. The goal I would have for you is be to lose weight over these 2 months and not get sick. That would be my goal for you. I know that's 2, but I'm allowed to change the rules. Lose weight over 2 months, not get sick. No flu, no cold, no COVID, and I'm losing weight. That would be an amazing goal. Think how you would start off the beginning of next year if that were true. Because what's going to happen January 1st? Guess who's going to be motivated? Oh, everybody's going to be motivated. Crunch Fitness is going to be packed. For 5 days, 4 hours, and 27 minutes. That's how long typical those healthy habits last. So what are we going to stick to for 2 months? So, guys, I want to close with this. It's something I've always said, and I've already said it today, but I want to remind you of this. You are too important to be sick. You are too important to other people. Okay? On the way here, the way I took from my house, we drove by Boston United Methodist Church, that beautiful, you guys know what church I'm talking about? It's like Gothic. That's where my grandparents got married, my mama and papa. And they got married in the 50s at that church. I love Tulsa skyline because whenever I see it, it makes me think of them. It's a beautiful church. And my grandmother was very proud that she got married there. She said it was the prettiest building in Tulsa. And they did everything, my grandparents did everything in life right. They were great grandparents. They were great family people. They did good financially. We went on great vacations. They gave me great advice. The one thing they didn't do right is they did not take care of themselves. And they took a lot of medications. And I just want to tell you guys, I would give everything to spend 10 more years with those people. Because when they weren't around, I didn't have people to ask advice to about my girlfriend I was dating. I didn't have advice to ask about like money advice or what car I should drive. Those are the people I went to for that generational wisdom, and they weren't around. And I would give anything to have that. And you are that for other people. You don't know how many people are watching you. And you're too important to be sick and not take care of yourself. So I just want you guys to know that. But the only way you'll prove it to yourself is through action, taking action. So take these notes. Take this action and make the next 2 months different than any other prior 2 months you've had over the holidays. Remember, same circumstances, different results. That's true learning. So I thank you guys. I love you guys. Had a great time with you. Have a great holiday. Thanks for coming. Salad dressing is where we get it screwed up. So the oils you're looking for, you turn around the salad dressing. The only oil allowed is avocado oil or olive oil. A lot of them are going to say soybean oil on them or canola oil. There's like Bragg's is a good brand. We do extra virgin olive oil and balsamic vinegar. Balsamic vinegar has a little bit of sugar in it, but I don't feel like it's enough to really make a giant difference. Okay? I like full fat or low fat yogurt. I like full fat or low fat cottage cheese. The reason I like both is they both satiate you about the same. Even if it's low fat, it's still going to satiate you really. You're going to feel full. Dose dependent. So the breaking point for coffee is 80 milligrams of caffeine or below seems to have some health benefit. 80 milligrams or greater seems to be really bad for you because you start releasing stress hormone. You do not process sugar as well above 80 milligrams of caffeine. Once you get over 200 grams of caffeine, that's around 5 cups a day, your ability to process sugar gets really bad. It leads to weight gain. Okay, so it's 1.5 cups to 2 cups of coffee. Try to get it in before noon. My recommendation, guys, I've quit coffee. I felt much healthier off caffeine. I do not do well with caffeine, though. It kind of stresses me out, makes me get a little jittery. I think other people have better genetics for it. They do fine with it. I do not do well with caffeine. Good replacement for caffeine is mud water or Rise. They're mushroom drinks that have cordyceps in it that give you kind of a boost without the caffeine high. Mud water is a mushroom drink that acts. It's a great way to wean yourself off coffee. Rise is a better choice. So they're healthy coffee alternatives. I think the most important thing, I like your question, is to get 100 ounces. Cold or hot. I've read the thing about like what cold water does in your stomach and for fat loss. I think at that point, we're a little bit majoring in the minors where the major thing is 100 ounces. Cold, hot, It does. And it does. Anything other than water technically triggers your liver. Now, I don't know what percentage that is. I don't know if it's a little bit. I know it's not as bad as eating a meal, lemon water, but it is technically breaking your fast. Salt is not bad for you. No. There's multiple books out on it. Short term, you may need to come off salt if you have cardiovascular disease, but you should go back to a full salt diet. Salt your food to taste. You want to do pink Himalayan sea salt with a full mineral profile. There's multiple books that have come out that salt has been demonized. We're actually probably lower salt for the most part than we should be eating. Now, when you eat a ton of processed food that's going to be laden with sodium, that sodium is not the same sodium as pink full mineral salt, because there's different minerals in salt that balance out its effect inside your body. And there's a whole book called The Salt Fix on this. A lot of my health mentors, they will take that salt grinder and do this right in their mouth. I'm serious. It helps you. Have you guys heard of Element salt? Have you guys heard of Element? I do. Elements, they make a great product that you add salt to your water, especially if you exercise and you sweat. You're probably sodium deficient. Element has sodium, potassium, and magnesium to it. So I recommend more salt. I don't know if somebody may know the answer to this. I've always heard 1 shot of espresso kind of equals 1 cup of coffee, which is around 60 milligrams of caffeine. That's what I've read or heard. I think it depends on where you get your coffee, honestly, because I know Starbucks has more caffeine than so it depends on how they roast the beans and things. So I think if you do a quick Google search, you'll find, but on average, I say to myself, this 8-ounce cup of coffee is 50 milligrams of caffeine, just as a general rule. Swiss method decaf coffee is. It's got to be decaf through the Swiss method. They don't use chemicals to take out the caffeine. Okay. They use high pressure water to take it out. Okay. So that's what my wife drinks when she's pregnant. That's what you should drink when you're pregnant is Swiss method decaf coffee. Now, if you do get the jittery feeling, and does anybody know the quick hack to get out of if you drink, who's ever drank too much coffee and you're like, oh, I'm screwed for the next 2 hours? It's eat a banana. Yeah, eat a full banana. Again, that's not advanced plan, it's low, but that will crash your caffeine overdose, is eating a full banana.